What happens when a Western romance novelist unexpectedly becomes part of a Chinese actress's narrative? Recently, online conversations began circulating around a moment that many fans found both surprising and symbolic. A well-known contemporary romance author publicly praised Zhao Lusi's acting, referencing specific scenes that, in her view, captured something essential about performance beyond appearance. The core of the discussion stems from a post attributed to Tammy L. Bailey, who cited Meryl Streep's well-known perspective about freeing oneself from concerns over physical appearance. In that same context, she highlighted Zhao Lusi's emotional airport scene in Hidden Love and a makeup removal moment in Love's Ambition, suggesting that these scenes left a lasting impression. While such commentary is not uncommon in fan culture, what made this instance notable is the cross-cultural nature of the praise, bridging Western literary voices and Chinese television performances. Looking at how the discussion unfolded online, especially across Chinese social media platforms, the reaction was layered. Some viewers embraced the recognition as validation of Zhao Lusi's evolving acting range, particularly her ability to convey vulnerability in understated ways. Others approached it more cautiously, questioning whether isolated praise should be interpreted as broader industry acknowledgement. This divergence in response reveals how audiences today are increasingly aware of the difference between individual opinion and collective consensus. From an analytical standpoint, the significance of this moment may not lie solely in the praise itself, but in what it reflects about Zhao Lusi's current positioning. Over the past few years, she has gradually transitioned from light romantic roles toward characters that demand more emotional depth. Scenes like those mentioned often resonate because they strip away visual polish and focus on raw expression. In a media landscape where appearance is frequently emphasized, moments that appear unfiltered tend to stand out more strongly. There is also an interesting dynamic at play in how international voices interact with regional entertainment industries. When a Western author references a Chinese actress, it introduces a form of cultural translation. The interpretation of performance becomes less about local expectations and more about universal emotional readability. However, it is important to note that such cross-cultural recognition does not automatically translate into global industry impact. It often functions more as a symbolic gesture than a measurable milestone. Another layer worth considering is the role of narrative framing. By connecting Zhao Lusi's scenes to Meryl Streep's philosophy, the discussion subtly elevates the conversation from individual performance to a broader idea about acting as a craft. This kind of framing can influence how audiences perceive an actor, not just as a performer in a specific drama, but as someone engaging with deeper artistic principles. Whether this perception holds over time, however, depends on consistency in future roles. Community reactions remain mixed. Some fans see this as evidence that Zhao Lusi is gaining recognition beyond her core market, while others argue that true international breakthrough requires sustained visibility across multiple projects and platforms. These contrasting views highlight an ongoing tension between enthusiasm and critical distance within fan communities. Looking ahead, it may be too early to draw definitive conclusions about the long-term impact of this moment. However, it does suggest that Zhao Lusi's performances are increasingly entering conversations that extend beyond their original context. Whether this will lead to broader opportunities or simply remain a notable anecdote is something that only time can clarify. So the question remains, is this kind of cross-cultural praise a turning point, or just a fleeting moment amplified by the internet?